In today's video, we're going to be doing an Israel Adesanya Iceberg. If you don't know what an iceberg video is, I'll give you a quick rundown of it. As you see on screen, I got kind of a list of stuff. It's broken down to 6 layers. The top layer is going to be kind of the most well-known and the least bad, I'd say. And as we get deeper and deeper down, it's going to get darker and darker. I'm not sure how long this video is going to end up being, but if you'd like to go down to a certain part of the iceberg, in the description, I'll have the time codes for it. So just click on that time code and it'll take you right to the layer that you want to be at. Yeah, I'll just shut up and get straight into it. Here we go with layer 1. DDP face-off. This entry is referring to a face-off between Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis, the current middleweight champion. They exchanged some choice words in the octagon and eventually had a face-off at a press conference they had at a later date. I'll throw some pictures up there on screen. Not much to this one. It's just kind of relevant to the fight they have coming up. So I kind of want to put this one in there. I did not say Jerkis du Plessis. I wanted to leave that in, but just make sure to clarify that right now. I did not say Jerkis du Plessis. One last thing I'd like to add in this face-off that was on screen, this was in the octagon after Dricus won. Israel Adesanya said some interesting things, and in my opinion, it seemed like he was a little drunk. He went on and said he was not drunk and he didn't have anything to drink, which I don't know why he said that. He should have just said he was drunk, but he seemed a little intoxicated in this one. One last thing I'd like to add in on this entry is there's a clip online of Izzy and DDP actually at the same gym. They're sparring two different people, and they happen to just bump into each other. I just thought it'd be a funny, interesting clip to add in. I'll give you guys an extra 100 points if you can name in the comments below who Dricus is sparring in this clip. Hint, he is short. China. Alright guys, I promise I didn't just blurt out China for no reason. This entry is referring to Izzy being of Chinese descent. Not actually, but a lot of people just joke around and say, yeah, he's actually Chinese and stuff like that. It all stemmed from him fighting kickboxing in China and saying certain things. And like the image on screen, you see him walking out with the Chinese flag. A lot of people making fun of him for it. Not to mention, he did say things like, I may be black on the outside, but I'm Chinese on the inside, and a couple of other things. I'm going to put a video up of that audio and as well as a couple of promotional things he did while he was fighting in China.
I have a dream about China. To stay here eventually, I'll have a house here. Because being here, my destiny and my dreams are realized one step at a time. And I really appreciate China and I appreciate Wellington. Black outside, China inside. I am Chinese. I'm the Black Dragon.
Those were just a couple clips. Trust me, you can find many, many more online of Izzy Chinese stuff. But this isn't the video for that. Obviously, these clips have been around for a while, but it really started to get talked about when Izzy was kind of hinting that Dricus was not a real African because he is South African. So many fans started to say, hey, isn't that kind of ironic? You were saying you're Chinese, you're born in Nigeria, you moved to New Zealand, and then you lived in China, and you said you were Chinese, you walked out with the New Zealand flag, blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of how all this Chinese stuff started to, make its way out to the normal people. Before that, not many people knew about it. Obviously, it was kind of a niche thing. Many Chinese kickboxing fans probably knew about it, but if you're anything like me, you are not a Chinese kickboxing fan. No offense to them, just can't name a promotion. We are already at layer 2. This layer is going to be the Alex Pereira layer. I feel like I could not leave this out just because it's such a big part of his life story, his MMA career, his kickboxing career, his whole life basically revolves around Alex Pereira. So there's just a couple things that involve the both of them. Alex Pereira knockout in kickboxing. This entry is referring to a fight between Alex Pereira and Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. This would actually be the second time they faced each other in kickboxing. First fight, Alex won by decision. I'd say a relatively close fight. And some people contest who won this, who won that, but a lot of people don't understand how kickboxing scoring works. But this one kind of settled the score at the time. Alex Pereira viciously knocked out Israel Adesanya in this fight. You could see on screen what happened right after. Pretty bad knockout. As Izzy was still unconscious on the ground, staff came out and provided oxygen. A lot of fans would look at this fight and say this one's the most brutal knockout. I tend to agree. Very close to another entry that we'll have later on this level of the iceberg. We'll discuss that. But yeah, pretty vicious knockout. Not much more to say about this one, but this is kind of where the rivalry started. Alex Pereira knockout in UFC. This entry is referring to their technically third fight, but their first mixed martial arts fight. This one upping the score in many fans' eyes, everyone's eyes, to 3-0. Two knockout losses and one decision loss. And Izzy just lost his belt. Alex at this time is really seeming like Izzy's nightmare. Really was. Beat him twice in kickboxing, came over to UFC after Izzy's already defended the belt multiple times, went and knocked him out and took the belt off of him. Most fans found this pretty surprising. Alex Pereira came into this fight in MMA. He was 6-1, and Israel Adesanya had already had multiple title defenses under his belt. And for somebody to come in there and knock him out in a later round of the fight was very surprising to a lot of fans who didn't know much about Alex Pereira. Alex Pereira came into that fight off of a knockout. He knocked out Sean Strickland later that age to a pretty good win. But yeah, that was a very important moment in Izzy's MMA career because it was a guy haunting him from back in kickboxing, following him to MMA, and then finishing him in MMA. A couple more things I'd like to add about this entry is going into this round, Israel Adesanya was winning the fight pretty clearly. That's one thing. And then another thing is kind of debated amongst fans. Some fans say that was an early stoppage. Me personally, it looked like Israel Adesanya was one shot away from going down. But again, it was a title fight, so many fans say, hey, just let him go out, let him take one more shot. Me personally, I think it was stopped pretty fairly, and, no more unnecessary damage was taken. Israel Adesanya knocks out Alex Pereira. This entry right here, this is a big entry, all right? Adesanya finally beat Alex Pereira. It might have taken him 4 attempts, but on the 4th try, he knocked him out in pretty spectacular fashion. I have some photos I'll be putting on the screen. Very interesting fight. Nothing like the other fights, in all honesty. In this fight, unlike the other ones, I'd say the other fights, Adesanya was winning a lot of them, a lot of the rounds at least. But this one, I would say Alex was getting the better of him. It's pretty obvious. Alex was getting the better of Israel Adesanya. Izzy got finished in the first fight. Obviously, you could see he was up against the cage, right? And he got finished because he was just covering up and back up against the cage. In this fight, Izzy got hurt a little bit and backed up to the cage once again. And just like the first fight, Alex started unloading, going to the body and then going to the head. Izzy was just had his guard up and noticed that Alex threw a punch, he would always just stay wide open. Izzy caught him. It was right hand, left hand, or left hand, right hand. Put him to sleep. Pretty nasty, stiff KO. It wasn't like a TKO. He was out cold. But very good performance by Izzy and very surprising to most people. You would think, after 3 times, when you look back on it, it's like, oh, well, if they fight 4 times, he's going to win at least one time. But it was just impressive that he kind of showed that he could come back from something like that after losing all those fights and then losing this fight until the round that he stops Alex. So a big deal for Izzy, a big moment in his career. But after that, kind of went on to a decline. All right, here we go with level 3 on this iceberg. Yoel Romero fight. This entry is referring to a title fight between Adesanya and Yoel Romero. Many people call it one of the worst fights of all time. I mean, the worst title fight of all time, at least. Very boring fight. I'll put some images on screen of kind of what was happening. Not much engagement at all. Zero engagement, in all honesty. Yoel wasn't really pushing forward, and when he was, Izzy was just backing up. So Izzy wound up winning this fight and retaining the belt, but not much happening in this fight. But we did get a legendary post-fight speech from Yoel Romero.
Not for this. The people, we need, the fighter need to respect the people pay. The people pay because the people want to say, see, the good fight. Not like this. That's what I come to here because I know the people pay. The people working a lot. You need to respect for the people. The people pay, are working a lot and pay pay-per-view. For what? For fight.
Yeah, that's probably all I can pay. I just said pay. I meant to say play. Leaving that part in. That's probably all I can pay. Oh my god, I did it again. Okay, that's all I could play without getting this video taken down. We'll see if it even goes up, but on to the next one. The Paulo Costa finish. Yeah, finish was an interesting word choice for me for this one because it was a finish, alright. Israel Adesanya knocked out Paulo Costa in round 2 of their title fight. Coming into this fight, Paulo was an upcoming prospect. I think he was undefeated. Yeah, I think I'm going with these undefeated. Heavy-handed, and Izzy knocked him out. Decently heated rivalry. This one was actually in Abu Dhabi, or it was on Fight Island. So this was during COVID, but what this entry is about is what some people might call controversial. The celebration Izzy did after he finished Paulo Costa, he then finished on his back. I'll play that right here so you guys have some context. In all honesty, in the moment, I thought it was pretty funny. I thought it was a funny celebration. But now looking back on it, I kind of see a lot of people saying that that was like dark or messed up. It's MMA, so like, what the fuck do you expect? But to add on to the lore, Paulo Costa claims he claims that he lost because the night before he drank too much wine and he came into the fight drunk. So, yep, new headline's going to be Izzy took advantage of a drunk man and finished on his back. Yeah, so that's all for that entry. Not much, not dark, but I think it's a pretty funny entry. Manel Cap. This one's going to be kind of a brief entry. This is just referring to Manel Cap and Adesanya getting into it at a press conference before Izzy was set to fight Sean Strickland. They kind of went back and forth. Manel Cap was upset because Kai Kara France, someone who was a teammate of Izzy, pulled out of his fight due to a concussion, right? But he showed up during the press conference, and Manel Cap did not like that. So he started going after him, and Izzy stands up for his teammate, literally and metaphorically. And Cap does not hold back and goes right back at him while they're 5 feet away from each other. And we got a big boy Taito Ivasa in the middle, kind of trying to separate it out a little bit. The moment, it was pretty heated, pretty funny on Manel's part. Manel said even after he's undefeated in the streets, he doesn't care how big Adesanya is. But even after all that, recently, this is filmed after the DDP loss, but Manel Cap said that Adesanya is going to win. If you know anything about if you know anything about Manel Cap, you would know why he picks Adesanya, even though he doesn't like him. But that will be for a whole nother video. The final entry on this layer is the Jon Jones beef. This entry right here is probably the craziest to look back on, in all honesty, because so much has changed since then. To summarize it, well, let me start off with where they are now. They're cool, they're fine, but it's weird to see how at one point people were thinking Izzy would be able to move up to 205 and fight Jones. Jones is a heavyweight, and Izzy's right now on a losing streak at middleweight. And Jones is about to retire and beat up Stipe. So what a crazy turn of events. But let's get to what the beef was about. You want me to be honest? It was just some stupid Twitter beef. I guess they could have fought before. There was like a chance that that could have happened. It's kind of crazy to think about now, but a long time ago that could have happened. But it seems like now they made up. But I threw some tweets on screen. There's a lot more, but basically Jones is calling Izzy gay a lot. basically, and saying, I'm way better than you, I'm way better than you. And, you know, Izzy's calling him a woman beater, a drunk, a steroid cheat, just the usual stuff. But some of the tweets are hilarious. I'm going to throw some more up here, but you can go and try and find them if you could. But there's this one Jones tweet that's kind of out of pocket. I mean, they're all fucking crazy, but it's a funny beef, to be honest, looking back on it now, because they're never going to fight each other unless Izzy gets fat and just finds it. Or, well, there is a chance that Jones and Izzy meet up one day at maybe a bar or something. You know, I'm not gonna say what type of bar, but okay, that's all. All right, guys, here we are. We made it to level 4. Finally, level 4. This one's gonna have some interesting stuff on it. Boxing career. Obviously, many people know about Israel Adesanya's kickboxing career. You know, he fought over in Glory for a while, then he came over to the UFC, but not too many people know about his actual boxing career, which is pretty interesting. He started off 0-1 and then went on a 5-fight win streak. And he only fought in boxing for around a year. I'll put up his record right here. But yeah, lost that first fight, and there's some interesting things on his record I'd like to discuss. So it looks like he started his career in 2014 with his first loss. And yeah, he lost by unanimous decision. I think he claims that it was like bad scoring or something like that, but whatever. He lost his first fight. Then he comes back and fights in an actual tournament. He was fighting at cruiserweight. And yeah, interesting to see he won 3 fights in one day. So he wasn't out just like, going out and boxing. He was entering these tournaments. And yeah, so there's not much more to that. I just thought it was interesting that in 2015 he entered a boxing tournament and wound up going 3-0. Then later he went and fought another 2, but it looks like after that he just stopped boxing, switched over to MMA, and here we are today. Old tweets. Okay, where do I start with this one? Izzy has said some interesting things. He has some interesting Instagram posts that some might say are a little edgy. I'm going to put a couple on screen. I'm going to have to censor them out, but there was a lot of things about, Hitler maybe, posting some like Instagram posts where he had a little mustache and was doing a certain hand sign. I guess a sign of the times, but it was a little weird to see. I'll go over a couple tweets I can find right now. I'm lying. I'm not censoring anything out. Who cares? Get this video taken down, whatever. But this one he talks about his wee-wee after his UFC debut. This one's a classic right here. And then we got this one I showed before. This one's more recent. It's a video of a certain guy with a certain mustache. Dancing to a song. He's saying that's what his walkout's gonna be. So yeah, that's an interesting tweet. And this is the last one I'm gonna include. This one's gonna play in a little bit later in the iceberg, but it's a picture of a dog, and he says, "Haha, it would be funny if someone did something, with the private area." Sorry, I have to censor myself on that one. I don't even want to be caught saying those words right now. Okay, and last thing on this, before anyone comments like, "Oh, we're pulling up old tweets, trying to make them look bad," I could really care less about any of this stuff. This stuff doesn't really matter to me. Could care less. Me personally, I enjoy his fight style. Not gonna lie, I kind of like him as a fighter, but I don't care about this. This is not the end of the world to me. Haha, I posted some funny tweets. I'm just trying to document this stuff. Drick is sparring. Alright, I know this was included a little early on the iceberg, but right now, today is the 24th of August. So this is after the Israel Adesanya loss. So I just want to include this just to say, Izzy got submitted by Drickus. This is my new entry. The sparring was a fight. Izzy got submitted by Drickus. Israel Adesanya's first submission loss. Pretty fun fight to watch, but Izzy lost to Drickus. But yeah, the last thing I'm going to add on this one is allegedly they sparred in 2014. Both of them agree that they sparred. Izzy said he did better in the striking. Drickus said he did better in the grappling. Izzy said Drickus did better in the grappling. But it seemed like Drickus disagreed and said that he was better than him. 2014 was a while ago, 10 years ago. So in that footage, I guess they might have sparred later that day, but they both claimed to have fought each other. And both sides saying that they got the better of one another. Interesting to see how that fight played out. Dricus did submit Izzy, so yeah, I guess that kind of settles that entry right there. Alright, guys, you want me to be honest with you? I was gonna try and pull the wool over your eyes. I'm doing the iceberg out of order. I realize that this stuff is probably darker than my previous layer that I just did, so here we go with layer 5. DUI. This entry is referring to an incident that happened August 19th where Adesanya was driving back home from a dinner and he was pulled over. Once he was pulled over, his blood alcohol content was 0.087, I think it is. Well, it's 87 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood. The legal limit in that country, New Zealand, being 50 milligrams. So he was about 1.5 over the legal limit, a little bit over that. And he actually pled guilty to this in court, but he said it wasn't much. He was just a little buzzed, and he didn't feel like he was putting anyone in danger. This did come at a bad time for his career. This was 2 weeks, I think it was, after his loss to Sean Strickland. So many people looked into it as, oh, he's not taking the loss very well, and now he's drinking heavily, which to me it doesn't seem like that. It just seemed like bad timing, kind of similar to when he was arrested at I think it was either LaGuardia or whatever airport in New York when he had brass knuckles that a fan gave him after his loss to Alex Pereira. That did not look good. That was pretty funny timing. Like, he just got knocked out, and now he's in the airport with brass knuckles. But yeah, this just seems to be another incident of bad timing and a bad decision on Adesanya's part. He went on to, he claimed responsibility for this. He said he's not above the law, something similar to that he made a mistake and won't make it again. He had to pay a fine, donate to charity, and nothing else will come from this unless maybe if he gets caught again. Hopefully not. Hopefully he doesn't, put anyone else on the road in danger. But yeah, he should be good for now. Girlfriend. This entry is an interesting one. This is about Israel Adesanya's ex-girlfriend. This is about his ex. They're not together anymore, obviously, because she's his ex. But this has nothing to do with his doing, more about what happened once they broke up. A couple sources state that she took him to court once they broke up to get allegedly half of his wealth because they dated too long. Certain states in the United States and certain countries outside the US have a certain law where if you're living with someone or dependent on someone for a certain amount of time, you are still technically legally married. Again, I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. Obviously, like, look that up if you want to believe it. If you don't, I don't care, whatever. But yeah, she kind of took him to court and wanted to get money out of him, allegedly, again. The alimony should be substantially reduced to meet the bare minimum expenses of the partner and time limited. So it looks like she wanted a little bit of money from him, half of it. And I couldn't really find much about if he gave her anything. It does not look like this went too far, but this is just an interesting thing. When they had a sour breakup, it seems, and she kind of went after him to get something from him. Seems like they parted ways and neither one is in one another's life anymore. But just an interesting story I thought about his career coming up. And this was also years and years and years ago. This is 2024 right now. I think this happened a year or two ago. Yeah, it's not that long ago, but it's been a little time. It wasn't like something recently to pile on the million other issues he's been having recently. That would be pretty bad. But yeah, that's his ex-girlfriend. Okay, and one last thing. I couldn't find any other pictures of them together. That's why there's just this one picture. I thought it'd be weird just to post a picture of her on here because it doesn't seem like she's really in the public light or anything. But that's why there's just one picture. I can't find anything of them together. I tried to look it up, but it just seems like this picture was the only time they were really photographed together. That's, widely available at least. Gyno. This one right here is one of the ones. Everyone seems to know about this one. This is regarding Israel Adesanya allegedly growing a boob. On his right nipple, you see a little bulge. Many people are claiming that's gyno. He seems to have said it himself. Most people are saying it's from some sort of steroid he's taking because many steroids, not many, but certain steroids have a side effect of growing a boob, gynecomastia, whatever it's called. So that's what people are saying. People are saying he grows a boob and magically he gets knockout power. I'm just here saying what people are saying. I'm not saying any of my own opinions, but he looks like he has a boob in a lot of these pictures. I'll throw them up on screen. He went on an interview with Ariel Helwani a couple years back, and he claims that it was due to marijuana smoke. Said he went to the doctor and he said that the weed gave him a boob. Could be a side effect of smoking weed. That is true. Most likely that's not the case here. Maybe it is, but yeah, that's the reason he gave. He's never failed a drug test in the UFC. But again, we've seen plenty of fighters who have not failed drug tests look like they're on steroids and most likely are on steroids. But yeah, that's to help his case. No USADA fails, no USADA pops that we're aware of at least. But we do have a boob on the screen. So there's that. That's really all this entry is referring to, just the allegations around that time. Now, a lot of times when people see him fight, they look for the boob and see if the boob's there or not. I noticed against Sean Strickland, he looked like he had a boob to me. So, me going into that fight, being an Adesanya fan, I saw he had a boob. I saw Sean Strickland getting knocked out. I said, he has a boob. I remember standing up, look at it. He obviously lost that fight. That has nothing to do with this entry, but that's just a personal experience I have with Israel Adesanya's right nipple. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm leaving that part in, but I just looked back at it. It does not look like he had a boob, but I remember standing up screaming at my TV, he's gonna win, he has a boob, he's gonna win, he has a boob. So yeah, I just basically completely lied and made all that stuff up for no reason, so you're welcome, guys. This is it right here, the final layer, dog allegations. This one's one of the ones. I can't play a lot of the clips in here because I'll get taken down 110%, but I'll link the Reddit post below where a lot of these, well, I think all of these are from, and you'll see the videos. Some of them, it's nothing too graphic, but I just don't want to show any no square of a dog on Instagram. On YouTube. There's a video, I'll describe this one, where there's a video of a dog, like his dog peeing as he's like petting it on its head, and the caption is, have you ever made a bitch squirt? And he put me, and then showed him like petting his dog on the head, and his dog turned around pissing in the air. I'm putting all these pictures up, but I'll go through and explain a couple of them. Just off the top of my head right now. There's him following on Twitter this girl who acts like a dog and does adult content, which is odd. There's another one where where he tweets out a picture of a dog was sitting in a car seat, just sitting up, and he put would be shame if somebody jacked it off as a joke on Twitter, whatever. But it's just there's a lot of stuff that some people might say it's weird. He responded to this by saying, "Oh, a couple years ago, I flicked my dog's willy as a joke, and people are saying I'm weird." Yeah, there's that clip as well where he flicks his dog's no square. And yeah, I'm not gonna go into every single detail about this because this is kind of old, but I had to add this on. The MMA guru is the one who created this whole web of issues with the whole dog thing, and he made a good video about that. So if you want to see more about the evidence, more in depth, go check out his video. If you just look up the MMA guru Izzy Dog, you'll find it easily. But yeah, it seems like he maybe has a certain type of I don't know what you want to call it, but it's just odd. I think some of the stuff is jokes, but when you see all this stuff that I'm showing on screen, it starts to be a little weird and maybe too much of a coincidence. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that's all I really got. Like I said, I'll link the Reddit post in the description. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you made it this far, my guess is about 3 people made it this far, maybe 2, 3 if I'm lucky. If you're one of the 3, please like this video. I actually kind of put a little bit of effort into this one for once. Took me a little while to make. I'll try and do more stuff like this. Get this video to 10 likes. If I get 10 likes, I'll be the happiest person in the world. This was all for documentary sake. None of this stuff I really believe. Whatever, blah blah blah. All disclaimers. I'm just saying whatever I gotta say. But yeah, if you made it this far, thank you guys, and a like and subscribe for more.